children. But anyways, yeah, they accidentally shot me in my face and they wanted to use that take, so I said fine. The end. I said that really fast, so Will can't say anything inappropriate in between.
Good story.
Oh yeah, that'll totally stop it. I'm sure we'll save it.
Next.
All right.
I am a huge fan of the Guild, but this question is mostly for Felicia Day. I am also a huge fan of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. And I heard fairly recently that there's going to be a sequel. Do you know anything about that?
There's always a fairly recently I heard about a sequel. I'm sorry. It's just, it's literally a question I've heard for 2 years now. And I know, the only thing I could say is that I know that the intention has always been there to create, you know, more things in that world. It's just, you know, okay, Joss Whedon is doing this thing called the Avengers. I mean, how dare he do the biggest movie in existence, okay? So he really needs to get back on it. No, I think he's kind of busy with that thing. And I'm sure, I can only cross fingers that when he's finished with that he doesn't, you know, make it so incredibly successful that he goes to do 5 or 6 more, which would be awesome. And he can fit in Dr. Marvel in between that kind of stuff. But I know that they have stories, they even have a title. I mean, so it was, you know, it's very much in development in their heads. It's just, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to say the same thing I've said for 2 years.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's a good question.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the middle.
Hi, I'm the team from yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, hi. I have 2 questions. One's serious, one's really silly. First is, what are your thoughts on the representation of girl gamers in the gaming community? Do you feel like we're being treated equally? And second, if you could have if you could sleep with or have a winky relationship with any comic book character, who would it be?
Grayson, Nightwing session. Why is that guy so hot? He's hot. I don't know why he's hot, but he was something hot. You know, Bruce is not hot, and then Dick is hot. Ooh. It's because he's a little humble. I'm gonna breeze by. It's because he's humble, and like, I just got obsessed with the Batman and Robin comic. That would be the comic book. And, you know, I think there's a lot of, I'm going to keep going, stop it. There's been a lot of stuff about girl gamers lately online, and kind of like fights and like some really condescending remarks from the more hardcore people, and like I got involved in a fracas that I didn't want to talk about on a certain, you know, hardcore site. And like, I found that entering that discussion and trying to be like self-righteous about it and preachy about it doesn't convince anybody that things need to change. My whole theory about girl gamers and girl geeks in general is that if you lead by example and just become the geek that you want to be as a woman and just exist, you're leading by example and you're breaking the stereotypes by doing it by example versus by preaching. And I think that that's a lot more effective because we're all just people. If somebody does something really offensive, you call them out. Like, I personally find that offensive, but like, I just think the whole theoretical talking about it is not as effective as just doing your own thing, and just that will open the path for other geeks to come. What did you tweet?
I don't know what you're talking about. Catwoman. I was trying to decide if it was going to be Catwoman or Silk Spectre, and I ended up choosing Catwoman. But I actually have a thing to say to guys who play video games. Like, when a woman joins the game, like, don't be a dick. I recently saw an XKCD about this. Like, this is gonna be one of those things, right? Where it's like, I have an existential dilemma. Oh, there's an XKCD about that. This thing happens to me and all my nerd friends. There's an XKCD about that. The idea that you know, like, I don't care how old you are. Dudes have to stop acting like they're 12 years old when they game with women. And it's something that, like, we in the gamer community sort of try to pretend doesn't exist. and dudes that come up with like, so, oh, we're just joking and that sort of thing. And the thing is, like, it sucks. And it really can be just combated by committing to not being a dick when you play a game.
I would have said that, but I don't want to preach.
Okay.
No, I like what you said. It would have just nullified my whole argument. So you did your thing, I did my thing. It kind of works together.
Okay, we'll talk about it in the car.
So we solved that problem.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to answer? I don't really have an answer. I don't have a comment.
What about Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern?
Okay, he's
No,
fine.
how about the real Green Lantern? Sorry, reflexive nerd response. My bad. Apologize.
What they need to do is they need to go and make a Glee comic where Corey, what's his face? Is
Corey Monteith is like my celebrity crush.
I hate it when you do this. You always do, oh, Corey.
I love it. But Ryan Reynolds is good too because he's Canadian and Corey's Canadian, so I love Canadians. So that's my answer. Why are you shaking your head?
I don't have time to explain that.
I'm offended.
I'm going to counter this out by, Ryan Reynolds would be mine. Let's go over here.
This question is for Will. The Utilikill you wore in...
It was actually a sport kilt, is what I wore in... I wear a Utilikill in my private life. But Fox wears a sport kilt.
Just want to get your take on being a utilitarian.
I actually love wearing a kilt. I wear my kilt as often as I can. I wear them to formal events. I usually wear them to cons. I just didn't bring it to this particular con because I'm only here for a day and a half, and they're heavy, and I didn't have room in my bag. My wife is super not down with me wearing the kilt, and it's one of those things where she really just tolerates it. But she doesn't suffer in silence like a 1950s housewife. She's more of like a 1970s empowered wife. And just walks behind me, pointing out that, oh, my husband is the one wearing the skirt. But I love them. I think they're great.
Thanks.
Let's go over here.
Hi, I was wondering, what's the experience like on set for you guys?
I feed people a lot of food. I have a problem. I have a real problem with it. On Dragon Age, Kim and I, my producer, thank you, excited about that. We ordered a coffee truck every day.
And thanks for doing that on the Guild. Wow.
Well, but that was so many more favors. I don't want to talk about it. I'll get you a latte every morning. We get you lattes.
Dragon Age is the
She bought me a
Guild's Deep
latte
Space
today.
Nine.
Fine, whatever.
I said that Dragon Age is the Guild's Deep Space Nine. When Deep Space Nine started up, suddenly the Next Generation budget for everything just was gone. I hate the new baby.
Anyway, we have a good time. We do. It's
Well,
shocking.
they do. I don't.
We don't have a good time?
I mean, obviously, we don't get coffee.
I always actually send somebody out to get you a latte in the morning. Do you not remember that? Or you just...
Amy's usually drunk in the mornings. I can't even tell you how many times I've
I'm
had to
not
put
the
her
drinker
together.
of the
No,
Guild.
she's not the drinker.
I'm not the drinker.
I can tell you something that's really great about working on the Guild that really sets it apart from a lot of the other things that we do. We had when we shot the episode of The Date That's Not a Date, where we were upstairs in room 5. We were rehearsing the bulk of the thing, and something just didn't feel right. And there were a couple of lines that we both really liked, but it just wasn't working. And one of the wonderful things about the Guild is that we don't have a network to answer to. We don't have a huge chain of producers that we have to go through to get changes approved. And we just sat there as actors and writers, and we worked on this. And then we asked Sean to come in and look at the changes that we had that we thought would work. We asked Kim to look at the changes that we thought would work, and we ended up making the scene tighter. We ended up making the relationship more clear, and it was more fun for the two of us to do this. And one of the great advantages of a show like this is that it's just us. And we're really lucky to work with incredibly talented, incredibly focused, dedicated people working really hard for nothing just to make a great show. And we were able to pull all of this together in like, what, maybe 45 minutes, I think?
Yeah. No, I'm never like satisfied if something's not working as a writer. I mean, I do it on everything, you know. At the end of the day, the buck stops here. So other than, you know, as opposed to the things that I do that are not, you know, me creating it and producing it and writing it, you know, I do have the responsibility to at least make it as good as I personally can make it. And then I know that I did everything I could, because honestly, making a film is very, very difficult. Like, even on the Guild, there's like upwards to 100 people working on every episode if you add everybody in pre-production and post-production and production. So, you know, just coordinating that many people, so many elements, so many things can go wrong every single day, and that's why things sometimes don't turn out as well as you think they would. And the cool thing about the Guild is that everybody's in it to make it as great as possible, and we don't have somebody giving us notes that aren't maybe for the best benefit of the show. So at the end, the buck stops here. So if you don't like the line, I like it. So.
And Jeff Lewis is one of the funniest people on the planet.
Yes.
And getting to work in scenes with him is really, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Because he is constantly coming up with new stuff. And it's really, really fun to work with.
How often does that sort of, when you're talking about like doing this on-spot rewriting and kind of figuring stuff out as you go, how often does that sort of stuff and ad-libbing happen on set when you're shooting?
I mean, not often. Like we did a little bit more of it for the Fox Codex relationships because it was a little like I said Cox. I heard the giggle.
Nice 12-year-old giggle.
Yeah. And so that was a little harder to I did change that a lot just as we worked together with the actors to humanize him and make it believable, and it really was a nice process. But for the rest of it, I would say that 90% of the time it's completely scripted, and then especially Sandeep and Jeff will come in and you know, add some really funny lines and punch up and do some alt stuff. So.